I forgot to do a thing, but that's alright. I can do the thing while I'm actually streaming. Hey guys, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. Hey Corwin, how are you? You just got back. Well, I'm totally erasing my whiteboard while I'm moving all my stuff around. Sorry about that. Well, I'm glad you got back safe and everything. So, welcome to the stream, guys. Today is Friday, and I'm super looking forward to the weekend. Super looking forward to the weekend. I'll bet you guys are too. Evening sandwich, hello. I'm going to put this over here. So on Wednesday, we finished our axe. So this is it cold. It's pretty nice. Let me change camera so you guys can see that real quick. A little bit closer up. I think you guys should be able to see it from here. So you can definitely see that it's nice and shaped like an axe. This is the handle hole. It's a little bit on the smaller side, but I think it'll be all right. I can always grind in and cut in more of the hole, but this was the axe after it cooled down. So I definitely do need to take some of the corners off of this. I was never happy with the pilot hole, so we'll have to learn the best way to deal with that. I think I probably just need to make sure that my pilot is smaller than my drift width. Hey, Mahalo. Welcome, welcome. So, we are all done with that guy. So, we're going to start a new project. And that new project is going to be hairpins. So I've got it written down here, and I drew out my two designs, but my pen is like losing ink, so I don't really think that you guys can see those. So I guess you'll just have to take my word for it as I go about doing this. So there are two different designs. The first one, we're going to start with 1/4-inch stock. This one is going to be the actual like hair like loopy thing, and this is going to be the pin, right? So for these two, the design is actually to slit and not necessarily drift, but we're going to slit these in half and create a circle. This is going to be just a circle, and then this one is going to be a pin with a circle at the end. So they'll kind of coordinate and stuff. They are supposed to lose ink. That's how they make lines on paper. I know, right? But they're drying out a little bit, so it's not very dark. My second design, and I don't know if we'll get to this or not, I decided not to do two because this one's a little bit more complicated. It looks simplistic when it's finished, but it's a little bit more complicated and so, or of a design. So if I mess it up to a point where, you know, I can't continue, we're going to start working on this one. So this one is actually a square knife design, or a square knot design. So I'm going to make two U shapes with like curly cues on the end, and hopefully you'll be able to squeeze both sides and fit them the loop-de-doos inside and create a square knot with these guys. And then this one is going to be the pin, and it's going to go through the square knot to kind of create tension to keep the square knot together. So it will be 3 pieces. So we'll see if this works. So we've got an ad starting here shortly. Once that's over, I'll start up the forge and we can start working. So I'm thinking we're going to start with the circles. So I've got all my tools sitting over here, waiting to go. And we shall see how well I'm able to make this work. This is the pin, and I've actually made it or cut it a little bit longer than I want it to. We're going to end up cutting out the excess of the pin on or with the hot cut, but I'm giving myself a little bit of extra meat in case I screw up the first slitting. To be quite honest, I have understood only a fraction of what you said, but we'll see. I totally understand that. Like I said, I drew out the designs, but they just really aren't they're really light. So I apologize for that. I drew them on my notebook, but I don't know that that would be any better. So I don't know. Maybe once the ad comes out or is finished, I might switch to that camera and show you what I'm trying to do. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. But they're kind of a little bit more complicated than your typical S scroll hairpin, just because I like to be extra. So I don't know. We'll see if you guys can see it from the close-up cam. I don't know. We got about 30 seconds left in the ad, and then we'll get the forge started and start heating things, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, or I'll try to. Alrighty, so let's get started heating up the metal. We're going to be using the mailbox today. But the big forge is also hot because I did a little bit of work on my hold down. All right, I'm going to put these on real fast. And then let's see if I can kind of show you guys what I'm talking about a little bit. All right, so I don't know if you can see this design right here. It's like a little U shape with little scrolls on the end. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. So this is the shape that we're going to be doing for the round, or the 3 of them. We're going to make 2 of these and then 1 of these. This is going to be the pin over here, and then this, you're going to be able to squeeze both sides and get these little scrolls inside of here, and it's going to create a square knot. This is the other design. I'm not sure that you guys can see that one either, but this is a stick, and then we slit all the way through it, create a giant hole. And then this one over here is a smaller hole that's slit into the pin. And so you stick your hair through this circle and secure it with this pin. What is a square knot? A square knot is when you, if you bend, or if you, I guess, wrap a like loop on either end and you put the ends through the other side. So it's going to be, here, let me see if I can't find one to link you guys. Well, that did not. My pasting didn't work apparently. Wow, that's a big ol' link, but that's the Google search for the square knot. A knot that is square, it doesn't help much. So the link above your oh, Krausen knot, thanks. Okay. I figured it must be like a translation issue where it's not the same, like, it's not called the same thing. It's called a cross knot in German. Interesting. Yeah, we call that a square knot. So I am going to create two like little U shapes, and you're going to be, or like theoretically, you're going to be able to squeeze the two of them and put them into a square knot, right? And then what's going to hold them in that square knot is the pin and the hair. So it's a little bit fancier than doing just your regular S-hook knot. However, I think you might actually need to have someone help you put it in. It might be a little bit too complicated, but I'm not here for, ease of use. I'm here for pretty designs. So we shall see how well it goes. Great, the other direction works. It translates to the Krausen knot by square knot. I mean, sometimes it's like that, where one direction, like the translation on Google works, and then in the opposite direction, it doesn't work. And it's interesting if you just put, the translations in and then go back and forth a couple times, because at that point, it's like playing telephone. But it should be fun. Like I said, I'm not sure how well this design is going to work. Or actually, I guess both designs. But I think that one's going to work a little bit better than this first one. The first one is, you can probably see this one a little bit easier. There is a circle here, and then just a drawn out pin with a circle in the pin. So basically, we're slitting and drifting a circle in both the pin and the area that holds the hair. So we shall see how well something like that works. I kind of feel like this first one is going to be more of a decoration than allowing you to use it or as a sole method to hold your hair. The little box seems to be on fire a bit. It is. I'm doing pretty well, except for that I totally forgot to change the title of the stream, so let me do that real fast. We already finished the axe head. So I apologize for that. We will change that title. So yeah, we're just getting started, and I hope we have some fun. I might regret doing this, but c'est la vie. It should be pretty fun. I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm actually going to cut it in half, leaving the very ends together so that we can open it up and create a giant O or circle. But first we're going to squish it down so that we take some of the height and turn it into width. That way we've got it double wide and we have a little bit of extra room in order to slit this open. We should make a sketch from that scene. I mean, we could, definitely. It would be like Abbott and Costello, or like, you know, the Three Stooges. All right. I figure if I get too frustrated by this whole process that I could probably turn my square knot design into just a regular S-hook design, depending on how frustrating I make this first hairpin. But I'm hoping that I can get something fancy. Not necessarily because I feel like I need to reinvent the wheel, but I kind of do, you know. I kind of do, just a little bit. All right. So I'm going to put this one over here for the moment. And we're going to start working on slitting this piece. So I've got the hold down. And then I've got a chisel, right? So we are going to put a hole inside of the end of this pin. You could turn the square knot into a triangular knot or a hexagon knot if you get fancy. You're right, I could. We shall see what sort of knot we end up with. All right, have I set up my stuff well enough? All right. Let's see if I can make this happen, guys. We're gonna try it. Whoops, I went a little bit too far up, I think. But that's why we start slow. That way we can kind of pay attention to what we're doing and correct if we've done it wrong. So we've got a start of a slit there. We're going to open it up. So we'll put this back in the fire. I'm starting to think maybe I needed to flatten that side out just a hair as well. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do that before we get too far into this. Hey, Lexi. Good evening. Hello. Or good morning. Me. Change is inevitable. Wife. You mean inevitable? Me spitting out several nickels. I do not. Oh, inedible. Yes. Change is inedible. Change is yeah. It's bad to eat change. When I was a kid, I almost ate, or like I almost swallowed a penny. I figured it out, or I guess, you know, because it didn't really want to go down, but I almost swallowed one. I'm still alive, so clearly, you know, it worked out for me. So yeah, I think I might actually flatten out before I slit it. That way I have a little bit more space on the sides. Not wind of change. Sounds hurtful. Oh, now wind of change. Yes, it does. The winds of change. Could you imagine just like a bag of pennies, just in a like a, I guess in a like a hurricane or a tornado, just like whirling around, and that would be so painful. Wow. I don't know. So earlier today, before I started the stream, I kind of reoriented my hold down, because before I had the hold down like a little bit higher. It didn't go all the way down to the face of the anvil. And so I wanted to make sure that I would be able to hold down the pieces so I can slit them open. And so it's a little bit awkward now, but it works. Maybe if I put it over here, it'll hang a little bit better there. But I also think maybe at the vibrations of me using the hammer is going to drop it. Let's do another heat. Like I said, I think I'm going to flatten this out a little bit if I can even get it out of here. There we go. I accidentally shoved it in there a little bit too much. Okay. I don't want to flatten it too much. Just enough that I don't have to go through quite as much of the meat of this. That should work pretty well. All right, more heat. Careful, change hurts. Nah, you just have to be open and embrace new experience. And ow! I remember that scene from The Lion King with Rafiki, and he's just like whack with a stick. That's what. Never mind. I don't know. See, I don't know if those sorts of jokes belong here or not, because I mean, they are full of innuendo, but like, only if you get them. So I don't know. Maybe I should put, or draw the line at that's what sorts of jokes. I do enjoy those types of jokes too, though. But I don't know that they belong here. So, let's see. Today is Friday. We've got the weekend coming up, and honestly, I have no idea what we're planning on doing. The butler's sister called and is asking for help with their new house. And the butler will probably go out and do that, but I think I'm probably going to stick around here and grind the axe. I've got to, grind it and clean it up, make sure it's nice and pretty, and then I got to handle it too. So, and not handle it like, many whelps handle it. I got to put a handle on the axe head. You do have an axe to grind. I have an axe to grind. No, it's Saturday. Well, it's Saturday for you because you're on the other side of the world. You're in the future. Today, or for me, it's still Friday. I'm in the past. Isn't Ray here or coming? Now she has an axe to grind. Yes, I do. I literally have an axe to grind. I just finished forging it on Wednesday. So, let's see. What else are we? We'll probably actually go and drive the van somewhere. We decided that we wanted to get a fridge for it. So we'll probably order that tonight. So there are portable fridges that they're designed specifically for campers. And I think we're going to get one of those. Can I ask you questions on this stream? You can. You can ask questions. I love answering them. Stats back to 0. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. I'm going to play with the press at some point this weekend, probably flattening another railroad clip. Ooh. That sounds like fun. Learning how the press works, kind of figure out how fast it is. I have to say that until you really learn how fast your press is going to go up and down, it makes it a lot harder to judge how hot you need things to be and how long you're going to get work in. What type of steel are you using to make that pin? It is 1019, which is a low carbon steel. Let's see if I can't ban this bot. There we go. I'm trying to picture this tiny house of a van. It is a tiny house of a van. It's like a work truck van, you know? It's like a Chevy Express. So you see them all over the road with like businesses logos painted on the side. So you can't like stand up in it. I kind of have to like kneel in this thing. And so we've got like a desk and a full-size bed. And we've got the bed sits up 18 inches, so we've got a whole bunch of storage underneath of the bed. What year Express? Well, I could tell you any year from 1985 up till 2024, and they'd look exactly the same. But it is a 2018. So yeah. Sunrise is still an hour out. Wow. You are up so early. I'm glad if you're going to get up this early that you're, enjoying some coffee here on watching the stream, though. All right. Let's pull this out and start slitting it again. Greetings, Ping. Welcome to the stream. Let's see which direction. I think I'm just going to put it this direction. Oh, come on. You want to turn 90 degrees right there. And then I'll put you there. But I'm going to pick you up again because... Or I could completely miss. That works too. There it goes. I'm losing all my heat, guys. This is bad. This is real bad. That's all right. Starting off a little bit on the slow side. That way I can correct as I go. And this hold down is not working like at all. It's because I didn't put it in there very well. So you can kind of see the start of that. It looks like we need to move it over just a little for our next heat. Goodness. Sorry I missed the bot. I'm doing paperwork on the side. I mean, it's fine. I can get the bot too, you know? It still looks like a van, unlike the Ford Transit, which looks like a Kleenex box with windows. See, I really like the Transit. And they have a tall version of the Transit that you can actually like walk around and stand upright in. We did not get the Transit. Part of the reason that we didn't get it though is that like we wanted to be able to park our van underneath of the carport. So yeah. I keep saying that I'm going to show you guys a tour of the van, and I haven't done it yet. I really want to, but I've got a backlog of stuff that I need to get done. We still have 2 things that left that we want to put in the van. The first one is this new fridge, and the second one is what's called a swivel seat. So you take the seat, or like the passenger seat, out of the van, and there are these seat mounts that will allow you to swivel the seat backwards. So we want to get that so that we get a little bit more space and another place to sit. So we want to put those in there as well. Maybe you can write the manufacturer about the hold down not working as expected. I will. I'll totally write the manufacturer, you know? I'll write myself. Get your money back. Yeah. I just put it in there wrong. It'll work. It works. It's just I'm slow and I don't know. All right. So we're going to do this next. I'm going to do one more heat before this ad that's going to start in about 3 minutes. I'm going to try and race the ad. If I can get this out of here, that would help. Oh, come on. Okay. Apologies, guys. I shoved it in the forge a little bit too far, and now it makes it difficult to get the piece out of the forge. That's better. Maybe. Maybe not. It seems to be spinning around again. But oh well. Maybe I did this wrong. I don't know. Like not the piece, but the hold down. What did I see? You could probably back every penny that you paid for it minus the material costs. Yeah. My van sounds like an Inspector Gadget van. Put a piece of steel on top of my work and clamp them both. Yeah, I mean, I could do that, but it would take a little bit of time to clamp that piece down and I'd lose a lot of heat. Velas, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. We do try to keep politics and religion out of chat because this is supposed to be an escape from everything that's going on in the world. There is a lot of crazy happening right now, and I like being able to relax. So I want to make sure that everybody is free to hang out and relax and not have to worry about craziness outside. You should make a hold down, hold down. I mean, I definitely should. You know, a hold down, hold down. Let's see how much leverage I've got. Not enough. Maybe I turn it the other direction. But I doubt I'll have enough leverage that way either. Nope. It's still too thick for me to move it. It's alright though. Have you used a chain strap to hold work down before? I have, but I don't have one in my shop right now. I actually got a comment about that on YouTube about, or no, it was on TikTok. Somebody had a suggestion for one where one side of it was a motorcycle chain. One side of it was affixed to the stand of the anvil, and the other one had a hammer on it. So they would pick up the hammer, throw it over the other side of the anvil, and it will hold pieces down for them. It was a really cool design, but I don't have one right now. I guess what happened is when I modified this quickly before stream, I didn't quite make it far enough. It'll be all right, though. All right, we are back. Let's do another heat. Raw. And I'm going to put that there. I keep doing this every single time, and it's not even really helping me all that well, but I'm trying. Yep, we're still not working too well, but that's all right. More heat. Also, I will give myself a little bit of time to put something underneath of here on top of the face of the anvil to kind of protect it. The craziest thing here is the feral ibises that attack everyone when they see. Maybe. Every once in a while, I get feral wasps in here that attack me. Well, they don't actually attack me. They just like fly around. They don't bother me, and so I don't bother them until I spray them with wasp spray. At least you're not trying to slip through a railroad spike or thicker. See, I would not have attempted that in this manner. It looks like the piece is slightly curved, so it's leveraging the hold down upward. That's probably actually the reason. But it's all right. It's working enough. It's giving me some sort of resistance, so it's not spinning around as I put the chisel in there. And I still need to find something to protect the face of my anvil. So let's do that. That'll work. Just notice that when you go smacked it the last time. Yeah. I saw an ibis when I was in Florida a couple years ago. Good call. I've got more use out of my chain hold down than the shepherd hook one for sure. Yeah, I feel like I need one, but I also need to be a little bit careful, like how I put them in there, because the face of my anvil is broken, so I have to be a little careful. Ibis is plural, or is it ibises or ivy? I think it's ibis and ibis, just like, you've got sheep and sheep, one sheep or six sheep. But I couldn't tell you for sure because I am not up with my animals. As well as I used to be, at least. Is there a... No, it's fine. This is a giant block of tool steel that I purchased at the scrapyard for really, really cheap. I think it's actually A2, but I love to use it as just a nice surface to hammer on if I don't want to use my anvil surface. New donation from Sandwich. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Sandwich. Thank you so much. Also, hello, Yankee. Wow, thank you guys all for your support. But yes, Sandwich in particular, thank you so much for your donation on KoFi. I've got like a list now of people that I need to thank for propane donors. I've got Mahalo, and now I've got Sandwich. I've got another one that the community as a whole has donated. So I mean, I'm getting, we're getting good. My piece of A2 looks a little bit like that, sliced off the circumference or perimeter. Yeah, there's a second slice out of this, like right here. And so I'm a little bit nervous to use it for larger things. All right, let's do another heat real fast. Mogus. Thank you so much, Sandwich. I greatly appreciate that support. All right, let's see how much better this is going to function now that it's raised. It may work, it may not. I don't know. We shall see. Have we made it all the way through? That worked a lot better raised like that. All right, so we're gonna have to fix this a little bit. On our next heat, we've got a little bit of a curve that we're going to fix, and then we're gonna go all the way through on the back side. So that's gonna be the whole, we've got a little bit of a thin section there. We're gonna try and maintain as much straightness as possible here. So we're gonna have to correct there a little bit. Only a little bit, I think. It's gonna have a little bit of character. Smack that slab. Kids here put zip ties on their helmets to keep them at bay. Also, ibises was a protective text plural. So I'm assuming it's correct. Oh, predictive text plural. It has been raised. It has. I do. I think that this is helping the hold down work a little bit better. So because when I first made this, I designed it for the axe, so it was really fat. So when I did a quick lowering of this, I guess I didn't go all the way down. So raising the piece makes this work a lot better. So this project is working kind of the way I want it to, so we probably won't get to my second design. And unless you guys want to see the second design, we might just do Monday, where we're doing hairpins as well, just to finish everything up. The round thing now bounces on the anvil and pushes the piece up. Can you fix it down, or can you somehow fix it down? I mean, yes. I could weld it there, or I could use a different hold down, but I only have the one right now, and I don't really want to weld it, because then I would have to grind it off and like fix it, clean it up. So I think it's all right that it's bouncing. I don't think it's doing too bad. I am losing some kinetic energy, but not too bad. I thought of strapping it down, maybe. Just tack weld every piece to the anvil from now on, right? I don't have a good way to like strap it down, unfortunately. I wish I did. It'd be nice if I did. Let's see. Am I gonna be able to do it this way? Maybe, I don't know. I'll probably do it this way anyway. Oops. Did I get it all the way through? Probably not. See, the thing is, I don't actually need the hold down necessarily. Like, for real, it's just more like it helps. It helps me be a little bit more confident with my hammer blows. If I reposition the dampener magnets below the round piece, will it hold it? I don't know. Let's try it. I mean, it kind of feels like it. That might be the solution. That might be the solution. You guys are smart. Do the dampener magnets work through eddy currents? May still bounce, but it shouldn't turn away. So the dampening magnets work in a similar. Okay, so in a similar fashion to if you were to grab a hold of the side of a bell, right? So if you have like a bell, like something that you bring for your servants to come, bring you your breakfast in bed. A silly example, but if you ring it, you get that nice, clear, crisp ring, right? Well, if you grab a hold of the bell and then you ring the bell while you're grabbing a hold of it, your fingers will obstruct the resonance, like the vibration of the side of the bell. And so you're going to get a thunk or a clunk. You're not going to get a nice crisp ring. So that's how the magnets work. The magnets prevent the anvil from resonating and creating that shrill sound. It kind of tones down the vibrations. Let's see if I can get all the way through this time. But then you could just extend the anvil by the size of the magnets. I mean, kinda. All right, it's not wanting to go all the way through. But it will eventually. So did that help? I think it probably did. Okay, so it'll go all the way through next heat. Evening, holy zonks. Magnets don't like being struck. They tend to lose some of their magnetism. I haven't actually noticed that. I'm not striking the anvil directly. I'm just kind of using it to indirectly to dampen the resonance. I would guess that moving metal in a magnetic field creates eddy currents which dampen the movement. Not sure if this has any significant effect though. So hammering directly on them isn't good for them. I would imagine that it wouldn't be good for it. But we don't hammer directly on the magnet specifically, really, because they're really brittle, right? They're like not necessarily rare earth magnets, but they're very strong magnets and they are very brittle. So that's why I have like the one that's back here. This used to be a full circle and now it's kind of like broken in a million little pieces. And I just I use the biggest piece. But after a while, they get full of metal shavings from the scale. And then when that happens, the magnet will just like drop off and it'll go ka-thunk and it just shatters across the floor. So I got to be a little bit careful. The old one, I wasn't amazingly careful with. The new one, meh. I do need to get a new one though. There's one on my fridge, but I have to wait until the butler isn't looking so I can steal it. Right now, they're holding tickets to the Ren Fair on it, so I don't want to steal it just yet. Soon, though. All right. If I could get this all the way through, it would make me very happy. All right, you know what? Next heat, I'm going to put it over top of the Hardy, and then I definitely will get it all the way through if I don't drop it. Because, yeah, I need to get it all the way through. Okay, who greased Ray's hammer? I know. I have been, like, dropping it over and over. I'm not doing the greatest today at, you know, keeping my tools everywhere where they need to be. I'm going to move my camera so we can get a different view. Also, so I can make sure that my focus is on. All right. So I'm going to move this guy off the face of the anvil. And I'm going to move it over there for now. Let's see. I'll probably actually move that camera over there soon, because the next step after I get the chisel all the way through is to open up that hole. And to do that, we're actually going to use the horn, or the tip of the horn of the anvil, because I'm trying to make a circle on the end of this pin. Let's try it again. We got a second one of these guys that I got to do too, unfortunately. All right, let's see if I can't use maybe the Pritchell hole. There's my hammer. All right, we're all the way through now, as you can kind of see right there. Awesome. And I can drop it. That's cool too. I don't mind. Okay. More heat. Looks like I missed where I was actually using that, so I apologize. I will try to be a little bit more conscious of where I put the camera. So, like I said, the next thing that we need to do is we need to open up that hole. I'm not going to use this one because this one's not going to open it very well, but I will. I'm not quite done with that one yet. Do I have anything else that I can use? This'll work. This is an old knife I made. It's rusty as all get out because it's made out of mild. It was just a practice exercise. But all I really need to do is kind of put this inside the hole and twist it so that it kind of opens up that hole. A giant punch. It just occurred to me that I think everyone has that green set of chisels and punches when they start. I have mine, but they are mostly reground into fullers and drifts. I have ground so many of those into other other tools, but I still have a couple. I've had 2 sets total so far. These work pretty well because I don't really keep a lot of tool steel in the dimensions that make good chisels and drifts. So I tend to just buy a new set when I break my sets or when I squish them. So, like I said, I've had a couple sets. I think it's more that I'm just a little bit lazy to make my own. On those, at least. All right. Let's move that over there for now. Can I make this work? If I move this over here. Actually, I think I want to straighten this out just a hair. And then now it's not open enough. There we go. It's starting to open really slowly. More heat. I don't. My chisels and punches are ones that I got from the Habitat Restore, or some of them made from coil springs and crowbars. See, crowbars make excellent like drifts and chisels. I also have a lot of jackhammer bits. They're just like, they're smaller jackhammer bits, but I use those for drifts occasionally as well. Yeah, all my tools are packed in a crate in Texas still. I had to make a set from coil springs the other day. That makes sense. I mean, when you are moving between countries, especially countries across oceans, it takes a long time to get a new set of tools, or like your old set. Because I mean, if you're gonna bring your heavy tool set, you know, anything that you can't ship in a box or take with you as carry-on, it may, you know, you gotta ship it on like a pallet or something, and that can be obnoxious. So I totally hear you there. We have an ad starting in about 2 minutes. So, wow, we are already at an hour. It feels like it's been like, you know, 10 minutes or so. I don't feel like we've been out here for very long. So hopefully we can get this hairpin done. If not, we'll finish it on Monday. I at least want to get the one done, you know? Once we get the ad break, or once the ad break is done, I'll do another heat. Let's see. What have I been up to? So I chose some footage for the week after next video, but I am not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to use it. I met, or I took a little bit of footage, like B-roll, from the junior smithing contest at Quad State, and I got to talk to one of the competitors. But I want to make sure that it's okay if I post the video. So I have an email out just to make sure that it's all right, since the junior contest, everybody was everybody's kids, and you don't want to post people's kids on the internet without their permission. So hopefully I get permission, because the gentleman was very well spoken. So I would be very excited to be able to post that video, but I got to make sure that I have permission to do so. Otherwise, I'll have to come up with another video for the week after next. I've got a couple others that I can pull up. I've got a backlog of edited content to edit, I guess. So I'm super excited to bring these pieces, or I guess these videos to you guys. The ad break ends in a minute and 20 minutes, or I mean 20 seconds or so. Over here, you not only don't want to, but you must not by law. But I heard those laws are more relaxed in the U.S. Yeah. I'll talk about that a little bit once the ad break is over. But yeah. Whoa. I have so many tools on this the face of this anvil that it's making it a little bit difficult for me not to drop them. So over here, you not only don't want to, but you must not by law. But I heard those laws are more relaxed in the U.S. So I could argue that I am a news, or like in this capacity, I am a news broadcast, and we have freedom of press here. So I could, it would be a gray area for me to post without permission. I could do it, but if the parents did not, or decided that they did not want me to post that, then I'd probably have to take it down. But it's better all around if I get permission, so I'm gonna do it. All right, let's see if I can't get this open a little bit better. Okay. I think I might just use this, like so. That is a punch. Actually, it's a center punch, but it'll work. All right, so we started opening this up using the center punch on the Pritchell hole, and so I should be able to come over here onto the horn of the anvil and kind of fix that up a bit. More likely you would get civilly sued in the States. Well, like I said, I could argue that I am a news program, or at that capacity, but I wouldn't do it anyway because it's kind of a gray area, and I want to be on the up and up. My cables are getting all up in the way. Okay. If it is a public event and people were on some kind of stage, then you would be free to use the footage here too. You do not have to be a news program for that. But as soon as they are off stage or in some kind of non-public situation, even the biggest news channel is not allowed to film them. Yeah, not saying the person would always win, but that's more likely to happen if it's not legal from a government point of view. Yeah, and I mean, it was at Quad State, so it was a public event, you know? But it's always better to ask for permission. All right. So if not, if I can't get permission, then I am debating whether I want to post, or I have two videos that I can post. I have one more interview that I did, or I could do the van tour. I have like a travel, like we started filming like a travel video. So either of those two videos are going to be coming regardless of whether I get permission or not. They'll just be a little bit earlier if I have to replace those videos. In the U.S., there is no right to privacy when it comes to public spaces and video and photography. Yes. Were you there for Kevin's Steel Parade? I don't think I was. I don't think I was. They had, like I said, on Friday night, they had 3 contests. There was the junior contest or blacksmithing contest. There was the the amateur, and then there was the pro blacksmithing contest. We were only there for the junior blacksmithing contest, and I did get to talk to one of the competitors, but like afterwards I don't remember there being a steel parade. So I don't know if I just wasn't there during the steel parade or if it didn't happen. We were very, very busy when we went to Quad State. I might need that. Let's do another heat. Are we gonna fit? So we're starting to get a nice circle in there, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. Got a little bit more cleanup to do. Hey, Christy. Okay, Google says it is in 22. A copyright act. Okay. Kevin brings a load of steel from home and he drives the lanes with Jack Pines, and Ulfbert Forge to give it all away. No, I did not see that happen. It may have. We were only there Friday night from 4 p.m. to Sunday at about noon-ish. So we weren't there nearly as long as the event was actually going. There were people there on Tuesday, and we just couldn't make it because the butler had to work that week. So we made it as soon as we possibly could. But I would love to get there earlier next year. Making a circle, aka a square with no corners. Yes. Portraits may only be distributed by or publicly displayed with the consent of the person depicted. In cases of doubt, consent shall be deemed to have been given if the person depicted received rumination for allowing themselves to be portrayed. Yeah. It's midday Saturday thing. Oh, okay. So if it was a midday Saturday thing, then I was probably resting in my van before streaming, because we started streaming at 2:30 Eastern, just like we would normally stream on Friday, but we did Saturday instead. So, but I rested for about 2 hours before that, just so that I had enough energy to go out and be fresh for you guys. So, because we had done a whole bunch of interviews that morning, and I was already getting a little bit tired. So, I probably missed it that way. We also went to go and get lunch off site. We went to this pizza place. It was pretty good. All right. Let's keep on keeping on with this thing. Yep, I dropped it. Needs a little bit of grinding, I think. And then it'll be a little bit more even of a circle. So I'm going to start on this side. We're going to draw out the point on that. The other thing that we have to do is we're going to take this guy and make a circle just like that outside, or like that little one on the end. We're going to make this entire thing into a circle. So we've got 2 pieces to work on. Grinding inside of the little circle is going to be a little bit hard, but I do have some really good grinding stones for my Dremel. Those are things that I got for jewelry making. So I have like a Dremel. I wish I had a flex shaft, but I don't have one. Dremel has a flex shaft attachment for their Dremel motor, but I just don't have one. But regardless, I have some really good stones that I'll be able to grind the interior of the circle on the end of the pin. It should work pretty well. Let's see. What else have I got going on? I have that flex shaft, used it twice. Yeah, I have a flex shaft and a motor for the flex shaft, but it was a Harbor Freight special, and it's not very good. So the first time I used it, I tried to really get in on something, and I was like working hard and like pressing in on it, and it stopped the motor. So I knew that I was going to have to get something a little bit stronger than that. This is no time to cut corners. Yes. I'm definitely trying not to cut corners here. The other thing that I had considered doing for this circle is putting some, or wrapping some copper or brass wire around the pin, and then putting like a bead inside of the circle. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do that. There's a chance that I might do it. But they've got those little round beads, like the spherical ones, and I have a whole bunch of brass and copper wire, so I could wrap it around the end and then stick a bead through it and then wrap it around the other side of the circle. I think that would be kind of cool. I'm not very good with such things. My precision standard is less than 0.0 millimeters or 0.01 millimeters. Sound just went somewhat weird. Is there some plug that is sliding out again? I don't know. I really don't know. Let me check. I'm pretty sure like that I tightened everything as best as I could, but occasionally they don't work so hot. Let me try this. So that's plugged in as hard as it can. That one. Unfortunately, it's better now? Okay, cool. I think it just does that sometimes because it's a Bluetooth connection and there's a lot of interference around. I live on the same road as both the fire department and the police department. So occasionally, there's just a lot of radio waves around. All right. All right, some more heat. The focus on the anvil is a bit off. It's the same choppiness that's been happening on occasion, like noise canceling is interfering. I mean, there is definitely noise canceling, and that is interfering. I know that for sure. Apologies on the focus being off. I will try to be better about that. But it gives me a good opportunity to move the camera so that we're right centered on the anvil. I think right now, or like the last view, I was focused in on the horn of the anvil and not on the center. So yeah, I live right next to the local police station and the local fire department, as well as City Hall and the library. So like this is a really busy road out there. So there's a lot of just radio waves and stuff. I'm not complaining, but if you want to use the footage later on, I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. Because I do want to use the footage later on. Alrighty. Let's do another heat. So I'm thinking that this is definitely going to take us 2 streams. So we will finish this out on Monday. Just because we only have about an hour left in the stream, and I still haven't even started working on the other half of this pin. I've only done the pin itself. What else do I have going on? So I am starting to look for more events to attend. I have found a couple, but I haven't really found any that I'm set on going yet. 2 streams just to make sure not to cross them. Yeah. I'll try not to cross them. So yeah, there's a couple that I'm looking at. There's only one that I'm like set on going to. I think it's in April. I think I want to go to Tennessee. They have, or the Metals Museum has forging on the river every spring, and I definitely want to go if I can manage it. They bring in a blacksmith from BABA, which is the British Blacksmith Association, and they have about 7 or 8 open slots, and you can pay your fee and then go and help the British blacksmith create a group piece in their style. So I think that would be a really fun thing to do and to bring you guys to. Even if I'm not actively one of the blacksmiths doing it, I think that it would be fun to record it. So I'm gonna see if I can't get permission to be on site and share it with you guys. Your time planning works out about as well as the one in our software projects at work. Yeah, I know. I'm really bad at planning how long things are gonna take me. So every time I come up with a project, it ends up doubling in time. So although I did tell you guys that it was gonna take 3 weeks to make the axe, right? And it took 8 streams. I know it took longer than 3 weeks total because we ended up having to take a break to make the hold down, but it did actually take us 8 streams, which is just shy of 3 weeks. So I actually, for once in my life, gave you guys a true estimate. At least you finished your projects and don't have a giant stack of work in progresses. See, I try. When I was in school and like when I was first starting to blacksmith or to do art outside of school, I was so bad at not finishing my projects. I'd get to just like the 80% point and then I'd just stop. And then they would sit there at 80% for forever, right? And then I got a job at Chi Chi Ray. Then I got a job at the jewelry store, and my entire job was just doing that last 20%, finishing the work. So I learned how to finish work. I don't like doing it. So, you know, I try, but, you know, I'm not amazingly good at it. But it's all right. As we continue doing this, I will get better and better. So we've got about 3 minutes until the next ad. So by that point, we should be able to do our next heat. Once the ad is done anyway. So that's great. That's exciting. We will definitely be able to start slitting open the hair holding piece. I just don't think that we'll get it all the way through. For this piece, I have a bigger chisel to start with. So basically we're just going to squish this in half. Then I'm going to take this piece right here and we're going to slit it open a little bit. Once we've got about 3 of this head, the head of this chisel, then we're going to move on and we're going to finish it out using the hot cut, right? So I designed this piece specifically to fit the hot cut. So it should be a lot faster to drift this one open. In theory. However, you guys know how in theory works out for me. It works out about half the time. And the other half, it just blows up in my face. But it makes good content. So we'll see. We'll see how well it goes. Alright, I am going to change the view on this camera again because I think I'm going to take my next heat over on the horn of the anvil. So I want to center that horn. I think it'll be all right. Just so that I can do a little bit more or a little bit faster of a draw. So I'll put that there. I'm hoping this turns out all right. I'm hoping. But you never know, right? Let's see. So yeah, the ad should be starting any minute now. I don't know. Let's see. What else is going on? I don't know. What are you guys up to this weekend? Anything fun? It's relatively nice right now, but I heard that it's supposed to get really, really cold this weekend. I saw one of the news stations were talking about preparing for frost, and I'm not looking forward to that because, you know, frost means ice, and it could be slick. I don't have any salt yet. Ooh. Fun, fun. So we've got about a minute left in the ad break. So like I said, I need to flatten this out. I'm kind of taking a look at it just to see how easy I think it's going to be. I don't know. It'll be fun though. Deer season. I don't know. So the temperature is supposed to be dropping for you, Sandwich? Like I said, I'm just not ready for winter yet. I'm ready for it for fall, but I'm definitely not ready for winter. And the almanac, the Farmer's Almanac, says it's going to be really snowy this year. Nimbit says someone just listed a free engine hoist, so if it isn't claimed, I'm going to be getting that this weekend. Ooh, I have an engine hoist. It's very, very convenient for moving equipment all over the place. Supposed to be deer season, but I'll end up doing farm work. I knew that one of the seasons was coming up. I think it's also duck season in my area. There's this lake that's semi near us, and normally during like the spring and summer, they just allow you to anybody to go in their boat out on the lake. But during this time of the year, you are not allowed on the lake unless you are a duck hunter. So I think it is duck season around here. Unfortunately, seasons have a certain tendencies not to ask whether or not we're ready for them. And I mean, that's true, you know, you can't, they're natural forces. You can't control the natural forces just like you can't control the sea or the weather or the moon. Being temporarily retired and an hour out bush in the outback every day is the same. Cook, clean, well, forge, nap. Duck season, it's wabbit season. See, like I said, I think it's duck season around here. It might also, I mean, there's a lot of times of the year where there's multiple seasons open. I think that duck, and I mean, if rabbit season is open, I also think that there are some deer hunting locations open right now. So, I don't know. Duck season, wabbit season, duck season, wabbit season. Turkey season. It's definitely turkey season. I know that much because I mean, you know, Thanksgiving is coming up. I think Thanksgiving is already over for Canadians, but we're just ramping up for Thanksgiving here in the United States. All right, let's do another heat. That's the worst. Alright. More heat. We're getting there. Hey, Jack. Gotta get your Thanksgiving bird. The deer are eating my peach trees, and I wish someone would hunt them. I have, the butler's boss is a big deer hunter. And he goes out every year, and he uses a bow and arrow instead of a gun. So it's like a big old compound bow, and he gets it, he spends like super amounts of money getting it calibrated every year so that, you know, the sights are right and he can get his deer. And then they have it butchered, and all winter they have deer meat. They do deer jerky every year. Peach trees seem very easy to hunt, but if you want. I mean, peach trees are, because, I mean, they just sit there. They don't move except if the wind blows, you know. Alright, the next heat I'm going to do on the face of the anvil just because I want to straighten out everything that I just did. That's how you make someone hate you, with a single interaction. Probably. Sure, the domestic peach trees are easy. It's the wild ones you gotta look out for. Right? One more heat, we're going to use that heat to straighten everything out. It's looking pretty good, except for this like little couple lumps and bumps, and there's got a little bit of a twist there. One more heat on that section, and then we're going to start on this one. We'll see how easy it is to get the hair holding section together. I don't know. I'm hoping that this will work pretty well. I believe you in you unless it goes wrong, right? Oftentimes things do go wrong for me, though. I have in my head like how things are supposed to go, and then, you know, they don't, and I just, you know, I keep on keeping on like, you know, I'm insane. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, or at least that's the AA definition of it. I'm not entirely sure that the AA definition of insanity is the end-all be-all definition of it. But it works for their program. Alright. A little bit more heat. Just a little bit. So does anybody else or any of you guys else also go hunting, or are you guys less, you guys are not hunters, you're, you have other hobbies? I have shotguns before, and I do also recreationally shoot bows, but I have always done target shooting. I do find target shooting incredibly enjoyable, but I've never hunted like actual animals. So I kind of feel like, if the apocalypse comes and I have to go and hunt for my dinner, I don't know how well I would do. Laziness stops me. I've never fired a gun. Bow, yes. Yeah, like I said, I've shot both bows and guns. I don't own any guns. I only own bows. And the bows that I own are recurves, so it makes it even more difficult for hunting, because with the compound bow, you get like the larger draw for an easier pull. And with compound bows, there's no help. You don't get the leverages from the pulley system. So I do not have a bow that is strong enough to be legal for hunting. I am more like the city type of guy. I hunt my meat at the supermarket. I know people who do hunt though. I would say I'm fairly experienced marksman archer. That's cool. I try to, practice archery all the time. I do have a target in my backyard, and I occasionally I'll go out and I'll shoot, but I get tired after I'm smithing, and I smith so often now that I haven't gotten out to my own target for a while. But yeah, I guess I wasn't sure in Sandwich's case, like because you live in Europe, like what the laws were. Are you able to do any hunting, or is it more restrictive? We're gonna do another heat. We've got our pin done for the moment. Needs a little bit of cleanup, but overall I think it's alright. I left in the corners because they're really good to grip the hair. So that's done for the moment. And now hey, Swiss. We'll stick this one in there. Hey, Poodle. Welcome to the stream. I gave my kids all my pew-pews when I left, and I gave my Barrett 400 crossbow to my stepdad. Used to hunt, though. That stack of hickory is not OSHA approved. You can legally hunt in Germany. Of course, you need loads of paperwork. Take an exam, get a license. and whatnot. You have a dedicated area, which is your hunting area. You cannot just go somewhere and shoot animals. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I think this, I'm gonna wanna fix this a little bit. It's not straight, so I'll probably heat this up and fix that a little bit. Maybe on Monday. I really want to work on the other half of that. But it's kind of the design that I had in mind. Kind of. Now we're just heating up our other piece. Oh man, I wanted to visit Berlin Zoo and hunt me some penguins. I hope you're not hunting penguins. Penguins are my favorite zoo animals. I live somewhat near the St. Louis Zoo, and every year I have to go and visit the penguins. They have an entire exhibit of penguins, of like different types of penguins. I think they have like 4 different types. They've got like emperor penguins, and they've got the little ones with like the little like ears and stuff, like the yellow ear. And they got chin strap penguins. There's so many cool ones, and they're my favorite. They kind of smell, but I love them. They're adorable. One time I went to the penguin exhibit at the St. Louis Zoo, and the penguin was like sitting on this rock where they have their cages are open, so like they, you know, you can't really like touch them because there are zookeepers in the area, but they have like these open cages on both sides, and it's just like these aquariums, and they have rocks that they can get up on. And the penguin got up on the rock, and it jumped off the rock and down onto the floor in front of me. And I was like, oh my goodness, you definitely want to come home with me, but I can't steal you. So the zookeeper came and picked up the penguin and put it back in its cage. But I swear, it really wanted to come home with me. You also can legally buy guns and rifles for it, but you are obliged to lock them up safely. And you can only transport them safely and not loaded. You cannot walk around with a loaded gun. Not sure if the Berlin Zoo is rented out as a hunting area. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I guess I was under the impression that there were really, really strict gun laws and prohibitions in Europe. Here in the United States, it's relatively easy to get a firearm. But I mean, you know, we have the NRA, and there are like different states have different requirements and stuff, and you should definitely, you know, get your FOID card and stuff. I think it depends per county. Per country. Obviously it does, because every country has different laws about things, but yeah. I guess I thought for the most part, but I could be wrong. I don't live in Europe, you know? Alright, here's the hold down. And I need that one. And do I want to use the big old one? Because it made using the hold down a little bit easier. I think I do. Alright, we're going to do our first heat down. I'd have to drive quite a way to legally discharge a firearm. Compared to the US, yes, but at least in some states. Can you kind of buy a gun in a supermarket? That's a bit surprising from our point of view. Switzerland has one of the biggest number of privately owned guns per capita, I think. Strict gun laws aren't necessarily mean prohibition. That makes sense. You can actually buy both groceries and a firearm in a Walmart in some states. Not every state, but some states. Oh, I'm not ready for this yet, am I? We are flattening this out a little bit so we don't have as much material to go through. All right. Walmart I went to in New Hampshire as a kid had a whole corner of the store that was ghosts. Okay, I looked it up and I have to correct myself. We came in at number 19 according to Wikipedia. This is really interesting. Darling, remember to bring the cheese and a package of chips. Oh, and that that firearm we talked about, it's on sale now. Yeah, I mean, I really wish that, you know, yeah, it is, you know, something that we can do here in the United States. And I'm going to leave it at that because if I get into how I feel about how lax some of the, you know, it's the politics thing, you know. When I was in middle school, you could still bring your hunting rifle to the front office and check it in during school hours. Interesting. I had heard about that, but I don't know that I knew of anybody who was actually able to do that. Green Bricks followed me 8 minutes ago. Thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. We don't always talk about things like this, but you know, we were talking about hunting season and what we were doing this weekend. But yeah, hunting for meat and for sport, you know, it's a thing people do. I think this, like, the round is it's not quite as straight as I want it to be. I think I need to heat this up and restrain it. We can't even use traps or snares in my state. Yeah, it used to be you could go hunting after school. Interesting. I've been working on adding a third fire pot to my forge for classes. Got it finished today, just in time for a skillet forging class tomorrow. Ooh, that sounds like so much fun. Forging skillets, that's one of my favorite projects. I absolutely love forging flat sheet because it's so related to the silversmithing training that I had in school. And I also really love doing silversmithing. So that's one of my favorite things to do. When I was in school, people had their pickups with guns in the gun rack in the back window in the parking lot. No one keeps them in there anymore. Understandable. Understandable. The modern world is a little bit different. Hunting could be a nice hobby, I guess. If you're stressful, you don't only get some achievement on Steam, but something tasty to eat. Food. Yeah. It's a very popular class for us, too. It's great because cooking utensils are something almost anybody can find a use for on a daily basis. I mean, yeah, people should be cooking their food. Frying pans are awesome projects. see if I can't get this out of here. Okay, so this is going on here. And then this is going in here like so. And that's not helping because it's tipping it up. This first heat is always a little bit challenging because I gotta line everything up properly. Make sure it's nice and straight. So we've got an okay start, but I need to get more heat. It took me a little bit too long to mess with this, so I'm gonna get more heat. You can kind of see right there that I've got a line started. I want to make a skillet for campfire cooking. That's a good use for it. Nice workaround for the extra step in my anvil, right? I did actually get this specifically for that. I have this one and then I have a square one. This one's a little bit taller. I do have an ad in about 2.5 minutes. Ooh, yeah, make one with a long foldable handle. When this ad starts, I'm going to take about a 2-minute break. I'm going to go in the house and, yeah. Then I will be back out. I trust the mailbox. It's so small that it's not going to do anything crazy. Whoa, I'm searching for small screws on Conrad Electric, filtered for only M2 screws and 6 to 10 millimeter long, and I get 103 hits. What? That is a lot of hits for M2 screws. Goodness. I mean, I imagine that there would be more over in Europe, but there's, you know, than there would be here in the US because most of our screws are standard. But that is a lot. Definitely a lot. Conrad is crazy. I recently needed a 4mm brass rod, and it's literally the only place where I could find them. I'll bet. There is steel and plastic and steel with coating in different head sizes. Wow. There are a lot of different, you know, stuff, or I guess different types of fixtures and fasteners. All right. I am probably going to take my break right now. Give me just 2 minutes. I All right. Sorry about that, guys. If we all scream fire in chat, do you think she'll return sooner? Maybe. Maybe I'll return sooner. I love the fact that, like, I left for, like, you know, a little bit, and I come back and we've got more people in in the view count than we had before I left. I hate when that happens. All right. Let's do another heat now that I'm back. Let's make sure that I don't end up using that or, you know, making a mess with that. Oh, come on. All right, more heat. Seems like you should disappear more often, eh? Don't hide your tools. Don't listen to these guys. Iron Maiden. Hello. If you count the drops back down as soon as you are back, then, or only then, I would start worrying, right? Maybe some people are only here for the background. I mean, the background is kind of cool. I mean, there's fire over there, and we've got the sign and, you know, the press. I kind of feel like me being in the center kind of, you know, makes this area here a little bit more entertaining. Just a little, though, you know. I got a door right there. But, I mean, I got the whiteboard, you know, today's project, even though you guys can't see my drawings. You can kind of now, I think, maybe tell what I was trying to do here with this project. You know, we've got, like, the circle, and that's going to be, like, you know, you make a bun, and then you put the circle around your bun, and then you use the pin that we just made to kind of hold it in place. Being alone in the shop is peaceful. For some, it is a fire. For others, the smallest fireplace in the world. Forge. I mean, it is a tiny, tiny forge. Little. It's one single fire brick. I love this thing. If you're interested in how to get one of your own, Corwin found the guy that I bought it from, and there's a link there, and you can get your own. Okay, this only works if you know the Duplo ad. I mean, probably. I think I'm probably getting or missing something. I don't know. All right, let's do another heat. It sounds like I'm missing something. All right, we are now getting to the point where I'm starting to think that we should be able to use the hot cut. We should be able to use the hot cut to open this up a little bit easier. You can kind of see that nice slit there. And if we compare the slit to the hot cut, it's not completely, this is a little bit shorter, but I think we can manage it. Whoops. I emailed him and hadn't heard back. I don't know if he's still around. If anything, the picks are for making one of your own. An Atlas knife and tool makes a burner small enough for it. Yeah, he was he was on the older side, so I had hoped that maybe he was still around, but I wasn't positive. I'm gonna put the chisel over there. I missed one. What did I miss? A chocolate bar, for some it's Duplo, others it's the largest pear line in the world. Interesting. I don't know what a pear line is though. I could probably look it up though. Did I put that over there? I did. It's over there. I want to put this here so I don't lose it. But yeah, so we are going to open up the smaller section of stock into a giant circle, like about, I'm hoping it's going to be closer to yay big. It's probably going to be a little smaller than that, just because, you know, I underestimated maybe. But yeah, it's going to be a round, like, piece of stock. We're just going to open it up, and then the hair will go through, and then you put the pin through that to hold it in place. And it may or may not work very well. I'll see if I can't make it work. I'm not amazingly good at making buns to begin with. All right, let's do another heat. But first, I'm going to make sure that you guys are going to be able to see what I'm doing. My cord is caught. There we go. This and then that. Is it working? It should be. Yes. Yes, it is. Is it working for me? It looks like it is. Gotta be a little bit careful doing this. But it's working a little bit faster than the other one was, so that's not bad. Make it a little bit hotter, get more heat. Maybe wrongly translated. Sorry, it's a fancy piece of chocolate, usually rather expensive, with some special fillings. Of course, Duplo is rather a normal chocolate bar, but they advertise it as a very long praline. Okay. we have a lot of really expensive chocolates here in the United States that we import from, a lot of them from, you know, like Switzerland and several other locations. I think most of our fancy chocolates are like Ferrero Rocher. We also do, like, what is it, Toblerone? So those are definitely European. We do Hershey's and Cadbury and then Nestle are our 3 chocolate manufacturers. But I feel like they're not nearly as good as some of the European chocolatiers. 22 Cal Vitalix. Thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. We are currently making a hairpin. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking a 4-inch section of a 1/2-inch bar, and obviously those are standard measurements, and I'm opening it up into a circle, and then you put the hair through, and I have a hairpin that you stick through to hold it in place. So that is our project for the day. We will probably also be doing this project on Monday, but I'm not sure yet. Something like this. German chocolate products. Oh, so they're like a box chocolate, like that, like the box chocolates like that. They kind of remind me of Forrest Gump, where he's like, life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. I was picturing a big version of Lego the whole time and was wondering how it made sense. See, I wasn't sure, you know. There's like there's different shapes of chocolate. I wasn't sure if it was like a Hershey bar where it's like a long rectangle with like little cuts in it and stuff that you can break, or what. Cadbury was British. Was it, or were they? I bet you they were. That's not terribly surprising. Let me do another heat. Oh, we're starting to shimmy this direction, and that's not good. It's gonna make it harder for me to make an even circle. Gotta be a little bit more careful in the future. You can kind of see where I've been able to open this up a little bit. That's because we're going over the hot cut like so. I think I'm gonna go a couple of rounds with the chisel next. I'm not doing terrible, but it's also not the best. These. Drink. All right. So we're definitely going to be doing a little bit more work on Monday. I just looked at the time. I said I wasn't sure like 5 minutes ago, and now I'm sure. We're definitely going to be working a little bit on Monday on this piece. I might actually start from scratch on that one piece, or on this piece, just to kind of make sure that I have it the right size and it's not shimmying in weird directions. But I'm not positive on that. I guess it'll be a surprise for both of us. But here is my hairpin. It needs a little bit of finessing. I need to move this section so that it is parallel with the rest. It's like a complete line. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. Stay. So I'm going to take this out, stick it over here, and use this. Got to take the hot cut out of the hardy hole so that I don't accidentally hurt myself with it. I've gotten many comments on my nail video about how I needed to move my the hot cut out of the pritchel hole when I was tapering them. Or I mean, I guess the hardy hole when I was tapering them. So I'm going to try to remember. Be a good blacksmith. Alright, let's do another heat. Alright, I think we're doing alright. Alright, I'm going to turn this direction and put it in there. That looks the same as branding as the Kinder Candy. Kinder Candy, when I was a kid, I used to buy the Kinder eggs, and then they had like little plastic toys inside them, and I got them from the international market. And then when I was about 8, they like banned them and you couldn't import them anymore. And they finally unbanned them. I think that a kid choked on the toy inside. I feel like the toys in the new Kinder Eggs aren't as good as the old toys. You used to be able to like build little cars and planes and stuff when I was a kid, and then I got a couple of them just because, you know, for nostalgia, because I remembered them, and they just aren't the same. Definitely not. It is both made by Ferrero. My daughter used to be obsessed with them. See, I loved them, but I only got them like twice when I was a kid. And then my partner, the butler, had them far more frequently than I did. They were forbidden in the US because something not edible must not be inside of something edible. See, I mean, it's just weird, you know? We have to label, like, plastic fruit so people don't take bites out of it. Anything's edible once, right? I grew up with them too, but they were never banned here. I mean, they aren't banned here now. You can actually buy them again. But the toys inside just aren't, they're not as nifty. They're kind of like, most of the time they're like stickers or like little pieces of paper. So if you eat them, then, you know, they'll go through your digestive system. You won't choke on them. But they used to be little plastic toys. They were so cool. Same with Cracker Jacks, right? The Cracker Jacks toy were so much neater when I was a kid. Now they're just like tattoos and stickers, or like temporary tattoos. I guess pineapple on pizza passes because it's on instead of inside the pizza. They are called surprise egg. Ubera Shangs, or Shangs. Ubera Shangs. L, or UL for short. Okay. That is a weird word. I tried to use the pronunciation that we learned the last time. I probably still butchered it though. Let's do another heat. We're gonna do 2 more heats on this week. This today, and then we will finish this piece on Monday. We're getting close already. It's not too bad. Let's see if I can't stick this in the slot that I have already made. Alright, more heat. This would be so much easier if I just used my Dremel with my cutter Dremel disc. Then it would be just like using an angle grinder to cut some stuff. I usually do that, but this time I wanted to actually slit it with chisels. I don't know. I don't know if it was worth it. Going the traditional route. Not L, but L pronounced like I means egg. Oh, so it's it's E-I, not U-L. I. Okay. Ubra Shugs. I. U-I. For short. Okay. That makes more sense. Learning. Sometime in the distant future, 10 years from now, if I keep getting, if you guys and I keep getting more German viewers, eventually I'm gonna learn German, right? One word at a time. So I've got one more heat left. We're not going to get all the way through today, but we're going to get a pretty decent chunk of this done. You got the U right in Überschung, but the Ui. It's Ui. Aber sicher. I'm trying. I'm trying to learn. Close. Oh, it means for sure. Okay. See, now I just want to pronounce it Abershare. Because, it sounds like sure. All right, we do have an ad starting in 3 minutes, so I'm going to snooze that. We're going to do our last heat, and then I will raid off for the day. If you guys have anyone that you would like to go and bug, raid to, please do let me know. Otherwise, we'll find a new person or we'll find a friend. And that's where I'm going to leave it for now. We've got a line nice and drawn in there. I want to move it a little bit further closer to those ends so that we don't quite have a smiley face going on. We'll move it close to the end. I want a circle. I don't really like the sticks on the end if I can manage it. We'll see. We'll see how well I can do. More like sea share. Time for share puns, I believe. I have the usual proposal, but you might not want to go there again. Courtney is starting late today. She should come on any minute. All right. Okay. So thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a great weekend. Let's see who's on. Night Holy. I think we're gonna go to Mr. Bugatti today. Yeah, you are just in time. I'm sorry. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a great weekend. Thank you, guys. Bye.